But I'd definitely keep Rashford and Bruno.
Okay. Build a squad around Bruno, right?
I don't think we should ever build a squad around one player. Like that, I think that leads to circumstances where we've been in recent years, where you're relying on one player, or you're relying on, oh, why hasn't Pogba turned up, or why hasn't Bruno turned up? Like, we need to build a team that functions 4 times in a row. If City win the league, they possibly do a treble again. Yeah. Liverpool win the league, they possibly, well, they can't do the treble because they're not in the Champions League, but you know, they possibly win 4 trophies. So yeah, you have to hope we knock Liverpool out of the cup and Arsenal win the league somehow.
Can't believe it. I can't believe it. Football, bloody hell.
Like, we'll move on to the rapid fire questions. So
okay, no problem.
Very quick and short answers. What do you think about Rashford and Bruno? Like, should we like keep them? And
I love them, man. I get a lot of stick. I love them. I know you want a quick fire, but I do. I love them. I do. I think we have to stick by them.
Okay.
Build a squad around Bruno, right?
I don't think we should ever build a squad around one player. Like that. Like, I think that leads to circumstances where we've been in recent years, where you're relying on one player, or you're relying on, oh, why hasn't Pogba turned up, or why hasn't Bruno turned up? Like, we need to build a team that functions. If you take one of those parts out, I think that's where we've struck. Like, you take Lisandro Martinez out, and we've absolutely done in at the back. It's such a massive difference. I'd like us to be a team that doesn't build around, but I'd definitely keep Rashford and Bruno.
Okay, so what's your favorite fan channel again, other than the ones you're working on?
You know what? I don't watch, because I work in it. I don't watch as much like fan channel content, and like, gone are the days where, you know, I'd tune into other fan channels to laugh when they're losing and stuff. Probably because we're losing every week. So I don't really watch fan channel content, but I do watch, like, Filthy Fellas is probably my number one watch, like, football podcast. I like the stuff that Gary Neville's doing with Stick to Football. I enjoy that. I watch various other just bits and bobs. I watch a lot of poker content and stuff. So yeah, because I think I make it so much, and maybe because I'm one of those people that when we win, I will watch everything over and over and over again.
Same
and when we lose, I just don't care. So it's like, yeah, I suppose that's had an impact on how much content I'm watching on the side.
Okay, so talking about poker, like Aditya, everyone knows Adam has worked with Aditya Rathod a few times, and Aditya had few questions for you. So he wanted to ask, how did you get into poker? Like, besides that, do you have any other sports which you like to watch?
I got into poker because we did a show around COVID, which was poker based. I'd never played poker, and then we did the show, and then I just got into it. I got the bug for it. I started getting invited to events by poker stars, and then when I was going to the events, I was just getting the bug for it. And then, like, recently I've started taking coaching sessions and stuff like that. So yeah, I really enjoy doing poker, and I'm privileged enough to have become like an ambassador for poker stars, so I'm playing a lot more and all those kind of things. So yeah, I love playing poker. What was the other question? Sorry.
Any other sport do you follow? Like, how do you feel about the England team? England, do you actually follow or care about the England?
Nah, I don't care about England really. No, I did a little bit more when I was a kid, but I think that was more about David Beckham and Paul Scholes and Gary Neville. I think nowadays, and also, like, although I'm English, I'm proud of being English and being born in England. My parents are Irish and Indian, you know what I mean? So I grew up with part of my family supporting Ireland in football and things like that. So I don't really follow an international team wholeheartedly. I'd like India to do well. I'd like Ireland to do well. I don't mind seeing England doing well. You know what I mean? So it's, yeah. But my heart's not in it like it is with United. I would never be gutted over a result.
Okay. And Aditya also told me, like, you're a collector of jerseys and like you collect a lot of football jerseys. So is there any favorite jerseys you have collected, or
any special memory attached to that jersey or something like that?
I got a 99 jersey, which is an adult size, so it's my dad's because I was only 10 at the time. And I've got that signed by, like, every time I meet someone from the class of '99. Well, the class of
That's the
'99, the treble
That's the same
'99
thing.
team.
Yeah, that's the same thing we
Yeah,
have been trying to
right,
do.
yeah.
There's a jersey which we have almost got it signed by like 13 players or something. So every time
Yeah.
someone goes to Manchester, we try to add someone to it on it. That's the
Yeah,
same
so I've
thing
got
we have.
about 10 at the moment. I've got up to about 10. I got Roy Keane, Gary Neville, Dennis Irwin, Andy Cole, Ryan Giggs, Wes Brown, a few more. Like I've got a fair few more on there as well. But I need to continue it. So that's like something I want to get completed or near completed and give it back to my dad. So that's probably my favourite old jersey.
That's
that I got.
beautiful.
But I've also got, remember the reversible gold and white one? Yeah, the one side was gold and one side was white, and it was reversible. I think it was
Right.
2001, 2 maybe,
Oh.
around that time. I got Beckham on the back of that. I got that jersey. That's class.
The Vodafone one, the right before one, the one
It's Vodafone. Yeah.
right before the season before he left, right? I think it was right the one
Maybe.
before he left. I think
It's
maybe.
gold. It's got one side's gold, one side's white.
Right.
So the next one is like you have interviewed few players. So is any interview favorite and any players which you would want to interview in future?
What was the first part of the question? Sorry.
Like the players you have interviewed so far, like is there a favorite interview or a favorite?
Yeah,
I know
yeah, okay.
you like Ole a lot.
I'd love to interview Ali, and I was disappointed to not be in India when that was
Oh, yeah,
happening. That
Yeah.
looked amazing. My favourite interview, I've got to say, Eric Cantona was just surreal because he's up here for me. Like he's on the top level. Like like obviously you got Fergie, who would be a dream interview, but Cantona sits right under there. So to have done that already is something that's just unbelievable to me. He was amazing. Juan Mata was, to this day, is one of the most friendliest people I've ever worked with. Like footballer, non-footballer, this is just one of the most friendliest people I've ever worked with. It was a privilege to work with him. Jesse Lingard's a really good lad. Raval Morrison was really interesting chat as well. I enjoyed that one. I remember we got in touch with Henrik Larsson and he offered us to come out to Sweden to interview him, and I did that, and that was surreal. So there's been a lot of them. Like there's been a lot of them that I pinch myself every day doing what we do because like it's an unreal opportunity. Do you know what I mean? Like I get asked if I want to go and do videos with Gary Neville, and it's like, of course I want to go and do videos with Gary Neville. Like he's one of my heroes. You know what I mean? And even if like sometimes I argue with him, and I just think, how has my life come to this? But the one that I need to interview before I finish is David Beckham, and if I don't, I'd be gutted.
He was here in India like few months back, and we didn't manage to meet him. Like most of the players who come to Bombay, we always manage somehow to meet them at least for 5 minutes. But David Beckham is also one of the guys like we would love to meet and talk to him.
I feel like he gets to move around like a president and has got crazy security that kind of stuff.
The odds on that one are very, very, very thin. You just kind of just talk, say hi. But just since you brought it up, if it wasn't for a fan channel, wasn't for Full Time Devils, do you see yourself doing something else? If it wasn't for that, when you started it off?
Yeah. So when I'd started this, it was during the 2012-2013 season. So when we last won the league, and when I got involved, it was just by accident. Like I was working for my dad's property company at the time, and I just finished doing my law degree. So I had a law degree. So I was kind of like deciding what to do, stay in property and do property law, like just doing those kind of. And then I started doing Full Time Devils, and it just kind of snowballed. And for the first 3 years, I think maybe 3-4 years, I was juggling both. So I was working for my dad and I was doing that. And then eventually got to a position where I could just do it full time. And I was getting other little bits of, YouTube work and stuff like that. And yeah, it was, that's how it came about, really, just by accident. Like, because I was always going to games. So me and my dad would go to games. We've been going to games since I was a child, like proper little kid. And we've been going to games together for years. And at that point, I was going to Old Trafford pretty much every game. And so when I seen the advertisement on, like, I think it was Facebook or something, are you a Man United fan? Do you want to get involved? I was like, hell yeah, I'll get involved. But I never had any media experience or anything like that. Or I never did it with the intention of, I want to go viral, or I want to do this as a job. I just did it as like something I enjoyed doing, really.
And did it change the way you watched the game over the years as a fan? Did it change the way you saw things, and did it change the way you experienced the game as in general, not just as a United fan, in general?
No. I try and not allow it to do that. If anything, it's enhanced it, because I've been able to do so many different amazing things. But like, I would never. The people obviously show me videos that we've done where I've vlogged being at games or whatever, and I have done that at times. But I never really enjoyed doing that, speaking in the camera at a game or anything. So because it takes away from my enjoyment of the game. So
yeah. If
you've seen most of the vlogs I do on my channel of games, very rarely am I talking to the camera, unless it's outside the ground. Like I don't do that. I just enjoy the game still the same, especially on a match day. Obviously doing watch-alongs and things like that is different to anything I would have done. So maybe I'll go to the pub a little bit less for a Man United game than I used to. But yeah, apart from that, it's not changed anything. I love it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you said like you have come to India a couple of times. Like, have you been to Mumbai?
I have, yeah. I went in 2011, I think. I remember that because I think we played, when I was over there, we played City in a semi-final. I think it's the one where Balotelli and Rio got into a little scuffle and we lost 1-0. So yeah, I think that was 2011. If so, it was then. But I've been back to India a lot, but I've never been back to Mumbai. Like that time when I went in 11, I went to Mumbai, Goa, Gujarat, because that's where my family's from. I went to Agra, Delhi, I went to loads of places then, and since then I've just been back to Goa a few times. Like I think 3 or 4 times for like a wedding and different things like that. But yeah, I do want to get out there and go to a few more places.
Yeah, the next time you come to Bombay, you should definitely plan to come for a screening.
Nah, that's what I try and do. So whenever I go, like when I went to Goa, I met up with the Goa Supporters Club and watched the game with them. Recently, I went to Mauritius, met up with the Mauritius supporters. So I always try, and in New York, I did the same. So I always try and go and watch the game with the Supporters Club and kind of get to see how they watch the game or how they experience it. So I'd love to do that. I'm hoping that if there's any more events over there or things like that.
There's one.
I know they've got that's coming
United
too soon.
Event happening. Yeah, I Love United event is happening this weekend, in fact.
Yeah, on Saturday.
Yeah, that came too soon for me. Like us at Stretford Paddock have started doing live shows and stuff like that too. So we could even maybe do one out there, and if it's possible, and like bring, Wes Brown or Brian McClare or something with us like that. But those are kind of things that I'd love to do more. Like that's where I see us moving to in the future. Still doing what we do great on YouTube, but also doing more of those kind of live events and stuff like that, because they're really fun to do.
Yeah, and
one last question, like, did you see the title race, man? Like, I think it's going to be the closest one we have seen in few years. So what do you think? Like, I know it's hard to pick. We don't want Liverpool and City, but do you really want Arsenal to win, or do you think Arsenal can win?
I think Man City will win it. I think if Man City don't win it, I think Liverpool will win it. But out of those, the lesser evil is Arsenal. That is the lesser. I know it hurts to say that, and it will, because hasn't it been like 20 years for them or something like that? So
yeah.
And then we'll be getting close to 20 years before we know it. So I know there's that, but 4 times in a row. If City win the league, they possibly do a treble again. Yeah. Liverpool win the league, they possibly... Well, they can't do the treble because they're not in the Champions League, but they possibly win 4 trophies. So, yeah, you have to hope we knock Liverpool out of the cup and Arsenal win the league somehow. But I think it will be Man City. And that thought was cemented when Phil Foden knocked in a second on the weekend, unfortunately.
Yeah, sorry, just a small last question because you brought it up right now. If there's one piece of advice you could give United fans right now, because I'm sure back there as well, it's been quite negative, right, over the last 10, 12 years, ups and downs. Is it the most negative it's been? Because as fans from outside of UK, in our circle on Twitter, there's a big division. And I think it's been the most negative this year than even when it was under Jose's year when he got sacked, or even after Ole left. So what is the one advice you could give everyone I think, look,
we're very fortunate at Manchester United fans, yeah. The last 10 years we'd describe as a nightmare, which is fair enough considering the expectations we've grown to have. But we've also seen us lift like 5 trophies or something. There's some football fans that will not see that in a lifetime. And there's some football fans that will just not see that in a lifetime. And it's like, I remember when the Swansea game, when Fergie's last game, my dad said to me at the end of the game, like, we stood there watching them celebrate with the trophy, and he said, now you're going to know what it's like to be a real football fan. And I never thought that would come true, and like immediately it was just like, boom, here you go, Liverpool might win the league next season. Luckily they didn't, and David Moyes is getting sacked, and when we thought it was just going to be a nice and easy turnover. So whilst we've experienced a hard time for us by our standards, we've experienced some massive highs over the years. And I also feel with Ineos, at least what we've heard from them, there seems to be some positive direction now moving forward. And if that can help us going forward, then, the good times could be coming back very soon. But I wouldn't be so spoilt, man. We've had a lot to celebrate. Yeah. But the next time we win the league, I'm going to cry first and foremost. But secondly, we have to rub it in a lot more than we did, man.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
Because people have loved us being down so much. It's like we have to rub it in more.
You wouldn't believe, like, there was a video which Premier League India has uploaded from our screening when we celebrated the Rashford goal. So that video now is getting so many hate comments, like what happened at the end of the match, what happened after Foden scored.
I hate stuff like that.
It's like we can't celebrate even a goal anymore without being taunted.
Or like if you celebrate, when we celebrate Kobe Maino's winner at Wolves or whatever, right. It's like, why are you celebrating? Like first, what are you on about? That's what football's all about, celebrating those moments. You have to enjoy it in the moment.
I like being hated. I like being the hated club still. Like, even after 11 years of not winning, we are still the most hated club.
Yeah.
That will never change, I don't think.
Yeah. That's not going to change. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. We know.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, man. I really enjoyed it.
We went a little over time. Apologize about that, but this is really great conversation, and we hope to have you here soon with us, and we'll be conversing face to face, watching United lift the title soon. Hopefully. Yeah,
hopefully soon. Defo will do it again before the end of the season, and hopefully see you guys over there or you guys over here.
So yeah, nice. There's a group of people who are coming for the Liverpool game, so maybe I'll ask someone to.
There are about 20 of them. I think they're coming. Yeah.
Get in touch.
The Premier League game. Yeah.
Okay. Get in touch.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Nice one, boys. Take care. Yeah. See you later.